On this episode of the SABM podcast, helping people navigate career transitions with Gary Slyman, Naval Academy, class of 81.
Welcome to the Service Academy Business Mastermind. All you Academy grads, we got just what you need. Yo!
Service Academy Business Mastermind. For all you graduates that got business on the mind. It's time to up the business game. Come on, let's do this thing. We got what you need right here, so don't you think it's time?
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Then what are you waiting for? Let's get started today. To learn more, visit www.sabmgroup.com.
Hey, what's up, team? This is Scott, and today I'm excited to share this interview with Gary Slyman. Gary is the president and founder of Great Transition Strategies, a leadership consulting and coaching practice with a mission to empower individuals and organizations to reach the next level of performance personally, professionally, and as an organization. After serving for 23 years in the United States Marine Corps in program management and as commanding officer of an aviation squadron in combat, Gary led, established, and assisted in the development of multiple ethics education programs as a deputy director of the Ethics Center at the United States Naval Academy. In this episode, we discuss how vision, values, and strengths shape Gary's coaching strategies, why it's important to love what you do, resource recommendations for discovering your values, tips on how to navigate entrepreneurship, and what helped Gary succeed as a leadership coach. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the SABM podcast. Gary Slyman, welcome to the SABM podcast.
Hey, Scott. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about helping people navigate through transitions.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I guess before we hopped on the call here, I was kind of thinking, I'm thinking back to the different times that I've transitioned, in my career, in between jobs or into a business or out of the military into the civilian world. But you had mentioned we're kind of always in transition. So.
Exactly. And the goal is you want to be great transition. I mean, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So you want to be in a positive trajectory.
That's right. So the name of your company is Great Transitions Strategies, and I'd love for you maybe just to start off today and just tell us a little bit about what that is and why you started it.
Sure. Yeah. It's an executive coaching practice. Started it, went on paper in January 2016. Got myself certified. I'm Marine Corps for 23 years, and then I was a private school administrator for 11 for a new school. And then when I made that transition out of there, I wanted to do leadership consulting. And it's funny, I'm looking at what's next. And my daughter says, Hey, Dad, you might, I was talking to this coach. You might be a good fit for that. You might want to take a look at that. So I looked at it, went to Duquesne University's coach certification program, got myself certified, and here I am now, over 5 years now, running my own practice because my daughter sent me in that direction. So it's
oh, wow.
Been a lot of fun. Yeah. That's
a really cool story. And you're still doing it and you're making money. So you're a successful coach. I guess.
There you go. So.
It's not an easy, thing to start. I mean, a coaching business. And, I remember kind of starting off, doing like some side, like on the side, like of my day job back, 10 years ago, just trying to help people and do some coaching and that sort of thing. And, man, it can be challenging, figuring out your niche and, who you want to work with and, the business development side of things. So congrats on becoming a successful coach.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Yeah. It's been a road. After you get through that, the first year is really a challenging year.
Yeah. And all right. So you do a couple of, I know we mentioned earlier, everybody's, we're always in some sort of a transition. What types of transitions are you most passionate about helping people with or through? Is there one particular type of transition or what kind of lights you up?
Yeah. I'll tell you, what lights me up is because I've been called into a number of different places, to help folks. And I want to work with folks who are high performers who want to get to the next level. They're looking for help. They're coming to you. if I've gone into organizations and they want you to help that person and that person doesn't want to help, I turn those down now, because you go in there and, it's HR, it's the last straw before they fire this individual. So I'm not looking for that kind of transition. So I'm looking for folks who, hey, I want to get to the next level. I'm a high performer. I want to move on. Hey, I'm graduating from college. I'm trying to figure out how to start my career. Hey, I'm mid-career. I need to make a transition. And the military civilian transition, that's about 50% numbers wise of the work that I do with a foundation that I'm on the bench of coaches for. So folks who want to be deliberate about where they're going, why they're going, and that they have clarity about, hey, I made this choice because of these reasons, not because it was an easy button and someone directed them that way.
Yeah. And what are some of your favorite transition tools? I know that all coaches have tools up, the tool belt full of different, whether it's assessments or like frameworks or whatever it might be. What are some of your go-to tools that you use to maybe help somebody discover their next path or their next breakthrough? Yep.
So I have a couple. I have a basic framework that I kind of fit folks in, and I'll describe that, and then I'll give you some of the tools that I connect to it. So first, the framework, I try to help people get really clear. Where do they want to be in the next year, 18 months, 2 years, 5 years? So they pick the time frame. Hey, where do you want to be? And once they kind of build that picture, and I build that a generic picture, and I make it kind of generic. I don't make it industry specific, because sometimes I'm transition executives. Hey, they want to get to the next level. I'm coaching a number of CEOs right now. Okay, where do you want to take your company? And once they kind of build that picture, so I build a picture, and then I drop down and say, okay, what's personally most important? And I help them work really hard on their values. So I have a number of values activities that help them come to grips with. So within probably 15, 20 minutes, I can get a person to maybe to the 80, 85% of, hey, this is what's important to me. This is what I really value. And then take a look at, all right, what's going to get you there? What aligns you? So I work really hard on, this is important to me. These are my values. This is what motivates me. Here's the vision I'm looking for. All right, how do we connect the dots and build the path to get there based on strengths, weaknesses? So I'll use the strength finder. That's important. I know you're a strengths coach. Yeah. There you go. All right.
Thumbs up.
And, when you think about it, strengths in many times, because it's all self-report, and many times that helps people identify their values as well. Hey, this is what's really important to me. So I can use that, when they put their feet on the ground every day. Hey, this is what I want fulfilled. I want to be able to execute, work on my strengths. So I use that. I use the VIA assessment. It used to be called Virtues in Action. Now it's just called VIA. And then I have a number of other assessments that are Hogan assessment. I have some team assessments. I have some 360s. When I'm working with organizations, a lot of time they want assessments. So I coach I'm on a DoD and Navy contract. I'm on some other contracts, and we use the Hogan assessment for a lot of those because they're really, really telling. So vision, values are your foundation. Figure out, okay, what do you made of now? What are my strengths? What are my capabilities? What are my tendencies? And then we kind of work through, the process, an iterative path to get there, working on knowledge, skills, abilities, goals, and building their network to get them there. So that's maybe that was about 4 minutes of a framework that I kind of build.
Yeah. And I was kind of thinking as you were talking, the vision. Have you ever, what happens sometimes when somebody says, oh, this is what I want to do, or they might be specific. Like you may say, hey, let's make it a little bit more general, but they say, oh, no, this is what I want to do 2 or 3 years or 5 years from now. Do you ever see the values don't align with the vision, or maybe they realize, oh, that goal or that isn't as important as I thought it was? Or how does the values, how has the values shaped the vision in some of your conversations?
Yeah, so I'll give you a specific example. So this happened to me within the last month. So I'm working with an individual, Navy transition, senior, 06, getting out. And as we're working through kind of building the vision of, hey, what's really important? What's he want in the next chapter? We got to the point, generically talking about his leadership role. and he kind of wanted to be in charge. And we went through the vision, or we went through the values part, and we're talking about values, what was important to them. And this drill I have, he goes, you know what's really important to me is being able to support and be able to direct and get things done. But he says, I am not really good at the big blue arrow, the real vision stuff, and it actually makes me uncomfortable. So after we went through that discussion, and I kind of challenged him on that a little bit, I said, okay, so how badly do you really want to be in charge, or how important is that? How good a fit is that for you? He came to the decision like, maybe I don't really want to be in charge. He said, let's go back through your time in the service. Where were you really happy? He says, I was happiest most when I was the XO. So I was a CO. I was a commander, a squadron commander. He says, but I was happiest most as the XO, executing, getting things done. I'm an operations guy. That's what I want to do. But as far as the vision and doing all the stuff where you got to, business develop and, relate to all this other people and do all the other social, I'm not as good at that, but I get things done. So he came to the realization that, hey, I don't want to go into an organization and be the top dude. I want to be someone who works for the COO and maybe a director and work my way up. So that's a case where we didn't get there until we got to the values and what was personally most important. And he realized the stress he felt being in charge had him out of alignment. He was out of alignment with, his vision ended up being out of alignment. Now he knows what he's looking for, and that's how he's networking, and that's how he's trying to find his way. But until I challenged him on that, he felt he was going for kind of a top dog position.
Yeah, and imagine just the burst of energy that he probably gets now when he's describing to, interviewing or talking with, a potential organization that, like, he clearly knows what makes him tick a little, So
well, that's exactly it. My whole goal, whoever I coach, whatever I'm coaching with, is clarity. I want you to have clarity about where you're going. So think about you're driving your car down the road and the wheels are out of alignment. You take your hands off the wheel, what happens to your car? It drifts out of the lane. So you have to forcibly hold the thing to go where you want it to go. At some point, the thing gets so bad and you go, okay, I got to do something. I got to take it in. I got to fix it. So if you're in a job that you're out of alignment with, let me give you an example. You drive up to work, you park the car, you turn it off, you put your head on the steering wheel, and you think, oh, man, I do not want to go in there. I know this is going to be a challenging day. You're out of alignment. Something is out of alignment. That's out of alignment with your values. And people don't realize, well, you got to find out what's out of alignment because it's taking a lot of energy to get you there. So if you understand your values and the values of the organization and they're aligned, you can take your hands off the wheel and things go. There's the energy that you're talking about, Scott. So you go. I'm aligned with what I'm doing now. I mean, I'm here in my home office, and I come down the stairs. I'm energized. I got 4 clients today. I'm looking forward to a good day because I'm aligned with what I'm doing. Where, I've been in places before like, this is going to be it. Don't want to go and do that one today.
Yeah. And then I can also see too, so if the next, vision, values, and then strengths, weaknesses, and that sort of stuff. So that I can also see then where I'm just thinking of the previous example with the person who, kind of liked that maybe the number 2 position or the ops role, then maybe gets to the assessments and it's like, all of the executing, like strengths, like, oh, you're really good at, goal setting. And, I'm just thinking of like some of the strengths finder, like achiever and all of those. And then that validates, oh yeah. So then it kind of like they all build on one another from strengths, then to values, then to vision. But kind of the foundation is like what are your talents? Like, what are you actually good at and what do you love doing? Yeah.
And what motivates you? So I asked this question even for folks that are executives that are in a position. What if you can get every one of these values fulfilled every single day in that position? Like, I asked, what would be the impact on you? Like, oh man, it'd be awesome. That would be wonderful. Okay. So what are you looking for? Well, you're really looking for a position that's going to fulfill those. So when people are transitioning careers, they look at a position description, they're usually going, oh, I fit that. They completely change their perspective and go, oh, I think I might be a fit for that organization. Not that I fit that position. I have that skill set. It's like, oh, it looks like I might be a good fit for that. Let me find out what that organization's like. So now they start researching the organization, what the culture of that organization is about. Much different perspective, puts them in control.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a lot of times the best jobs are the ones that you create for yourself, whether it's you're working, at a company and somebody sees like, oh, you're really good at this. Like we want to create a position around, that's just a wonderful position to be in. But then, as a business owner or a coach, you're creating a kind of a what you do every day.
Exactly.
So those are always the most, I think, fulfilling roles to be in, because you created them and they're designed specifically for what you do best.
Yep. Well, and Scott, when people are transitioning, or even when you're just networking around and you really know your values and you're starting to spend time networking with folks, and when you lead with your values, then people start thinking, oh, I think she's a good fit for me. I think he's a good fit for this organization. Now they start talking to you. Maybe they wasn't even a position for you. Maybe you weren't even trying to find one. But now they realize, hey, I think that person would be a good fit for this organization. And they start creating positions, and they keep you on their list of, high, people that they want to call when the time comes available. Free agents. When you're a free agent, they can quick give a call.
Yeah. And so one more question on values before we move on, but do you have any like resources for the folks listening? Is there like a book or something that you would recommend, or a tool or resource as it relates to values that might be helpful for somebody who's interested in maybe discovering what their values might be?
Yep. I would say VIA, which stands for Virtues in Action. And if you want to talk to the PhDs on that, virtues and values are not exactly the same. And then there's another one that's a really good study done by Schwartz. He's put together another piece on values that I kind of use as my go-to. It's a little theoretical. He's a good one. So Schwartz talks about his value. He has a values assessment. It costs you like $10, $15 to take that values assessment. I personally like that one the best. But it is, you don't have to be certified in it, but it is a little dense, trying to figure it out. So those are the two that I use: Virtues in Action and Schwartz's Values Assessment.
All right, cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. All right, so how about the folks that say, Gary, hey, like I kind of want to be my own boss. And so you're a successful business, a coaching business. What do you say to those people? So I'd love to kind of maybe learn a little bit, because I think a lot of the people maybe listening to the podcast might want to transition into maybe starting a business either from scratch or, buying a business or something like that. What are some of your best tips for folks that want to take that path, maybe based on your own experience, having started your own business?
Yep. And I've worked with a number of those folks, and I've helped some of those folks pivot along the way too, because once they got to a dose of reality of, oh, maybe I'm thinking a little bigger. So again, I do start with a vision. Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in 1 year, 18 months, 2 years, and kind of build, hey, this is what I think I want to do. Okay. So then I have them, they'll work on a little bit of research. We'll do some values work. Okay. Where are you now? So once they start pulling all that data in, and this will take a little bit of time to do, but it's, as a coach, you're not an advice giver. I don't give advice for folks. I'll give some advice. I mean, they'll get some. You can't be totally pure, but it's going to be a case of, okay, I challenge them. Okay, tell me why that makes the most sense. I'll give you an example. Individual he was out of the military for a while and he wanted a gym. Was working for a gym. Wanted to put the one together himself. Okay, started doing some research. He looked at purchasing a gym. He did market research on the area. Then he started looking at some franchises. Right, so he totally pivoted from buying his own gym. Then he went to a franchise. Started working with several franchise consultants to help him buy. And he got a dose of reality too, that there was a franchise that he wasn't happy with the ethics of how they were running things. He was about to purchase and he pulled one out from underneath him. So then he ended up going back to, we've backed up. What did you learn from this experience? Reaffirmed his vision, reaffirmed his values, what was most important to him. where he wanted to live, and work through the numbers together. And he's in the process of purchasing his own gym for a much smaller, more niche franchise. So I guess that was kind of a long answer there for you, Scott. But it's a case of challenging them. So it's one, help them. Let's see if I can realize the vision I have in my head, and then doses of reality along the way, so that they learn along the way for themselves. It's not me telling them things; it's that they're learning on their way. So was that helpful, or give me a?
Yeah, it was really helpful, and just I mean, what was helpful to me, what you are there helping this person through this very, there's a kind of complex process, and he or she, could have just did the research themselves and, locked away in their home office somewhere, and called potential franchises or gyms to see if they're for sale or around town or whatever. But, having a coach or even just a sounding board, to kind of walk through this process with you, regardless of what your goal is or what is super helpful. Cause I can just imagine, the value that person got would probably far exceeded even what they paid, for the coaching.
Oh my goodness. And you're exactly right. In some of the cases, time and space, I give them the time and space to think through things out loud. As you're going through it. So, a question will always be, someone start their own business. Okay. Who are you working with? Have you talked to anyone in the SBA? What's the SBA? Okay. So the Small Business Administration. Who do you have as a resource? Are you a veteran? Did you realize there's these kind of veteran? So they find out all these resources that are available and educational resources, and they end up getting pointed in a direction where they end up doing it on their own with some help. But I accelerate their path and hopefully keep them out of, some potholes along the way.
Yeah. So let's talk about, let's narrow the focus a little bit here to maybe somebody that wants to start a coaching business. Cause a lot of people that, that went to serve in the military, had leadership positions, probably has what it takes to be a coach in some capacity. And they probably did a lot of coaching, leading teams and all of that. And there's a lot of coaches out there. There are that people that say they hang themselves, hang their hat on the as a coach. How did you make it this far? And what were some of the things that maybe you did, to differentiate yourself amongst everybody else? And at the end of the day, get new clients and get people to pay you for your coaching.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Scott, that is, year one. As I said earlier, that's a tough year. I think it might have been zero revenue in year one. I might have just broke even putting things together. So number one, getting started. I'm a former Marine. I think you need certifications. So that's just my mindset. There are folks, you graduate. You go to the academy, you spend all these years doing stuff in the military. You've mentored folks, and there's a significant difference between mentoring and coaching. Mentoring is expertise in the area. Coaching, I don't have to have expertise in the area that I'm coaching. Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes it doesn't matter. So I think you have to get some training. And there's international coach certification, or ICF, international, what does the ICF stand for? It'll come to me in a few seconds. International Coaching Federation. So it gets certified through that. So I went to an international coach certification program, got certified, and I'm working through different levels of credentialing. So I think that's important. I think getting some training is important. Then once you start your business and you hang out your shingle, you gotta spend some time networking. And I started really broad. I tried to be all things to all people. I taught at the academy. That was my last tour. I thought, I'm just going to be able to do this leadership thing. People are just going to hire me. Not true. So you have to get out there and you have to meet people. And I'll tell you, SABM, your networking things that you're doing on Thursday nights were really helpful for me to meet folks and get out, network. I'm in Annapolis, local Annapolis networking, Washington, D.C., officer networking. I was using all those things to get moving, and it was just meeting people. I did not get good at building a client base until I stopped going to networking events and trying to take and just try to get customers. Try to get. When I started going to those events and seeing what I could give to folks, then people started listening, and then people started opening up. I would connect people. They'd make more connections. Then I started making some connections. It probably took me about 3-4 months to figure that out. Started making connections with other coaches, got involved with some schools, got involved with a couple deans at business schools, and it went in, hey, this is what I do. How can I help you? And so I looked at organizations that I thought would fit with me. And that's where I started. So I started niching down to organizations, business schools, executive ed, organizations. And that's how I started building relationships with coaching organizations, other coaches. And then they would bring me on, hey, I need another coach. Are you available? And so that's how I did it. Coaches helped me. And then other organizations that might have a bias towards bringing coaching into their organization.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, and when you said that you kind of flipped the switch from, you're going to an event and you're looking for clients, like that's like one perspective. But, when you kind of flip the switch to, hey, I'm going to give as much as I can to the people that I meet rather than like asking for something, things started to happen.
Exactly. Yep. And you start helping others, and then they're willing to help you, and they're making connections. So never eat alone. I forget who wrote that book, but that's kind of a mindset of meet with folks, see what you can give. That was a mindset change for me.
Yeah. And I think, I'm just kind of thinking about, you mentioned, talking with people about, what is it that you want to achieve? I think at the end of the day, like that's kind of almost whether you're selling a product or you're selling a service or you're a coach or whatever it is, it's like you're on a call with somebody and what would you like to achieve? Right. And then kind of, maybe at some point positioning what you do as a way that person might be able to achieve it. I'm kind of curious, like when you, are talking with prospective clients, like what do those conversations look like? So maybe this could be some sales training or something for folks that
sure.
Have maybe a service-based business or a coaching business.
Sure.
I'm just kind of curious, like how much time you spend understanding what it is the person wants to achieve versus how much time you spend like explaining the blocking and tackling of like what you do.
It's more like 80-20, 80. It's really discovery. You're working with an individual, and I'll go in and I'm big on vision. What's the vision? What are you trying to achieve in your organization? What are the things you're after? Tell me about your workforce. What are some of the big problems that you're having? Well, here's the problem I'm having. What would it look like? What would success look like? Right. So this is the vision that you have. Right. So next, what are the big obstacles that you have in your way? Tell me what's getting in the way. And then I let them explain what obstacles are out here. I'm having trouble with, employee engagement. I'm having trouble with growing folks. I'm having trouble with development. What would be the impact what would be the impact to you if you were able to overcome those? Well, the impact would be, and they go through, here's what it would be. So it's really about them. Where do you want to be? Here's the obstacles I have. Here's the impact. And then I try to make a connection. Well, here's what coaching does. Here's some ways coaching might be able to help. This is what I do. If I try to make the connection, coaching helps do these things. In some cases, coaching might not be a good fit, but here's how I think coaching might be one of the tools to help you through that. And then at the end of that, it's okay, kind of extend the offer. So I just kind of gave, I call that the VOICE acronym. So I used V, what's the vision? O, what's the obstacle? What's the impact? C, here's the connection to coaching. And then I extend an offer to them. But in most of the time in that connection part, hey, this is what coaching does. What do you think? How can that? And they make the connections. Hopefully they'll make the connection themselves. Oh, I see how you do that based on working with individuals, maybe group coaching, maybe one-on-one, maybe team coaching, those kind of things to see how it could benefit them. And I help them make the connections.
Absolutely. That's some great advice. And, and I know I'm just thinking of like when the client or the prospect asks like, oh, Gary, tell me about what you do, like to start the conversation. It's like, never want to kind of start with what it is that, that you do and kind of flip it back around of, what is it that you want to achieve? And,
Yeah. I help people get better at what they do. Tell me what are some of where do you want to be a year from now? Those kind of things. And it's really discovery. It's helping learn. And people get into coaching, think they're going to make sales right away. You show up and it's a sale. Was it seven contacts before a sale? It's a long sales cycle. It takes a while. People need to gain trust, and that's just going to look at you at a networking meeting and go, yeah, come on, I'm going to drop $2,500 for this long coaching one-on-one program with you and hardly know you. It takes a little while.
Absolutely. Well, cool. And I guess for you, looking out as we record this, it's, we're coming up on the end of 2021, the beginning of 2022. What are some of your most important goals going into the new year?
Yep. So, going into the new year, what I'm looking for next year. So, it's interesting. I've been able to turn clients away. So I'm at a point where I have enough clients. I have a number of contracts with organizations. So what I'm looking for, one of the contracts I have is with the university where I have 16 1099 coaches that work for me to help coach in this master's program. So I'm looking for those kind of programs. So that's one. I'm looking for those kind of programs where I go into an organization and help an organization get better. I'm working with a group of coaches in the on looking at coaching in the medical field. I have 3 physicians in that group, a couple other folks on biomedical PhDs who want to help the medical community, particularly because of COVID. So we're looking to partner with an organization that wants to help that field get stronger and better, because nursing field, medical field, they're being decimated because of COVID and the stress and the burnout they're going. So that's one organization that we clearly want to help. So that's one field. Any other organization where they just want to get better, corporate, nonprofit, and I'm looking for partnerships with one-on-one individuals who want to get better. I'm coaching, some C-suite folks in nonprofits and in the for-profit world, which is obviously a lot of fun to see people succeed there. So building partnerships so I can help them get better and reach the next level. And the last one, which we talked about before we got on, one of the assessments I work with, the team diagnostic survey, they're just going through the testing right now with it's called a team diagnostic for startups. So they're going through testing from now, just started through April on the first set of startups. They need to have at least 3 founders in there. They need to have a VC or some kind of funding, seed funding, and some kind of advisor. And they're using the testing. They're going to help validate this instrument to see how valuable it is and get the instrument right to help predict the success for startups. So I'm one of the coaches who wants to help, working with that organizations to help move that thing along.
And Gary, who's the end user for the team diagnostics assessment? Is it the team, or is it like this person that wants to come in and maybe invest in this team, or what?
No, it's actually the founders group. So, okay. So it's the founders group.
All right. And so they go, how does it work? So they go through the assessment. And can you break it down for us a little bit? Sure.
And it's really pretty simple. So say you're a group of founders, there's 5 of you, you're putting together and you've gotten some funding. So you're just getting kicked off. You give up it'll take about an hour of your time max to fill out this assessment. Looks at 5 different areas. Obviously we get the data. The data comes back to me or one of the coaches that are certified in it. And then we do a debrief with you. We do a debrief with you, which is probably another hour to 90 minutes. So by just donating some of your time, you'll get the feedback on this, and then we get the feedback on, yep, this works. So there's actually, for this test phase, it's zero. Otherwise, later, once it's down the road, it's validated, it'll cost you, $1,000, $1,500 to, get that thing kicked off and started. So it's really simple. So I can put you in contact with the right folks to go through that process.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. And those team assessments, I mean, I think the amount that you can learn about each other through those types of assessments is crucial, because that's what's going to create results. That's what's going to, determine the success of the the startup is, how well the team works together. So sounds like a pretty cool assessment you're involved with.
Yeah, it's a great project, and the team diagnostic. So the TDS, Team Diagnostic Survey, is where it started from, and that was founded at Harvard by J. Richard Hackman, and they've gone through a lot of testing on that. So now they're converting this pretty dense, pretty in-depth diagnostic, and they want to do it for startups. So hey, how do we make the diagnostic a real startup? And they actually pivoted. They initially started with VCs, with the funders, and now they pivoted to the founders because they found that that's where they think the niche market is to make it work. All
right. Well, cool. And to use your framework, what are some of the obstacles standing in your way? But between those big goals, and more importantly, how can we help you achieve those goals?
Well, one, I want to thank you for the help because I've made some really super connections through the SABM group, and I'll tell you, I work with the Commit Foundation to help military veterans transition. So they help folks that are further along, and when they leave the military transition, I've referred so many people to your career nights when you're doing the evening ones, the networking. It's been really, really helpful for them. So one, continue. I'd love to connect with folks who want to get better. And who wants to get better. The obstacles are running into those folks who want to get better and want help getting better. So I could either connect them with me or connect them with someone who I know can, give them some assistance to get them where they're going.
All right. And what's the best way for folks to learn more about what you do and get in touch?
Yep. So website. So it's on the web at greattransitionstrategies.com. Okay. Transitions with an S and strategies with an S.com. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. I have a YouTube channel that's all connected. So that's my social media and Facebook. Every Monday on Facebook and LinkedIn, I do a live 8:30 Monday morning. I do a stand-up meeting for 5 minutes to get the week kicked off to a good start.
Oh, wait a second. So what's the stand-up meeting?
So wherever I was before as a leader and part of agile program management, you have a stand-up meeting, 5 minutes, everyone stands up, no one sits down. You just kind of go around the room. So I use that model of a stand-up meeting to get the week kicked off. So I'll go over some kind of leadership topic and talk about, okay, this is what we're going to talk about today. 5 minutes, give them something on it, and let them kick off the week.
That's pretty cool. And I wonder, once you record it, what do you do with the recording?
So it's up live on LinkedIn. It's up on my LinkedIn feed, okay. And then it goes to my YouTube feed, and then it's also on my Facebook feed. So folks, it's funny. I have folks. I was an administrator of school. I have students of mine who follow me on a regular basis. I hear from them. I hear, hey, Mr. Slyman, saw you there today. I have people that were in my command before, people that worked for me. So it's interesting to see people that I'm working with now.
Yeah, man. Maybe turn that into like a podcast or something where it's you've got it on the podcast feed and it's just a 5-minute thing every week. I think put into earbuds and get a good way to start the week.
Yeah, it's funny. I get someone who wrote to me 2 weeks ago. He wrote to me and said, "Hey Gary, every time I see this thing, I wish I had a pad and pencil because there's always something of value that I take away from this." And he's someone who exited from a company. He has his own running now, so I take that as positive feedback.
Absolutely, and it's a great way to help people. Again, kind of starting with helping people before you're asking for stuff, but it's a great way to help people in a way that that's scalable, where you record a 5-minute session.
Yep.
And you don't have to be there for all of you don't have to be there for the conversation, just the first one.
Yeah. Right. And then, they're just there for 5 minutes on a Monday morning. Every Monday morning, 8:30, I do that. So it's been great fun. Haven't missed in I think a year. So
wow, that's awesome. Well, Gary, hey, thanks for being on today. Thanks for, it's been great getting to know you over the years. I think I don't know if it was a meetup or the real estate accelerator back in the day or what. I'm not sure when our first connection point was, but it's and you've been on for the Global Good Fund podcast that we did, supporting that program, and so which I actually went through that in 2020 COVID year.
Oh, you did the COVID year, yeah, wonderful.
And so I guess that was because of you bringing that organization kind of to the network.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I just got a call. I just got a call too a month ago from a guy that I coached in that program, and called him back. He said, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you. My company is now in the Inc. 4000." He said, "Hey, and you helped me get there with my business." So we moved along, and we're making great strides. So, Global Good Fund making a difference for folks.
Good stuff. All right, Gary. Well, I'll post a link to your website and your LinkedIn profile in the show notes, and so people can reach out and connect. And it was great talking with you today. And keep up the good work. And here's to a prosperous 2022.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, much appreciated. Same to you.
Hey, what's up, team? This is Scott. Just a quick announcement. If you are looking for your next career or business opportunity, or if you have an opportunity you would like to share with others, I'd like to invite you to join SABM Connect, a brand new and free networking platform just for Academy grads to discover and share business and career opportunities with each other. On SABM Connect, you can explore career and business opportunities from our network, share your career and business opportunities, and receive updates when new opportunities are posted. You can join today and create your free profile by visiting sabmgroup.com/connect. Again, sabmgroup.com/connect. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with a fellow Academy grad. And as always, remember to dream big and take bold action.